In today's news, a stabbing at Purcell basketball court leaves one wounded, and a large backlog of work permits still exists in the territory. The Enis Adams Primary School to adopt a hybrid system of learning, and government to legally acquire the Toad Hall Estate property for free. Well, these and more stories when 284 News returns.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you, know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out that trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I hustle. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Well, welcome viewers to the Tuesday, August 30th edition of the 284 News. I am Kamal Haynes, bringing you the latest out of the British Virgin Islands. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. Well, we start today's newscast with news from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, where officers of the Criminal Investigations Team are investigating a stabbing incident near the Purcell Estate basketball court this morning, August 30th, 2022. But as a result, one male is hospitalized and is said to be in stable condition. Well, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force says that no further information is available at this time. Moving on, viewers, we're while stating that a large backlog of work permit applications still exists on Tortola, the Minister for Labour, Honourable Melvin Mitch Turnbull, listed bottlenecks, duplication of efforts, and staffing issues within the labour and workforce development as the main causes of the continuous backlog. Minister Turnbull made a disclosure at a recent press conference in response to questions posed by the media. He said upon taking up the role, he and his team sat with every individual within the workforce development to determine the root of the problem.
Over a week and 3 days, myself, the Deputy Secretary in the Ministry, and my private secretary, Ms. Juanita George, met with every single individual employee of the Labor Department, including the staff on Virgin Gorda. There is not a backlog on Virgin Gorda. There's a backlog of work permits and applications in Tortola. And there seems to be, what I have identified, and we have provided a report to the Deputy Governor as well as the Governor, and the Premier is made aware of the report of what we have found. There seems to be bottlenecks in certain areas. There seems to be duplication of efforts that continues to slow down the process. And I must admit that while the substantial hold of the post, Mrs. McLean, the Labor Commissioner, is on leave, she has been, and for a long time, the Labor and Workforce Department have been operating on a staff of 19 to deal with a workforce of 19,000 persons. That is the reality. That is a vast reality that we have. I'm not making excuses about it.
Well, Minister Turnbull further said that a communication issue was also identified as a hindrance in the process of work permit applications. Well, during the conference, he did state that an exact figure of the backlog was not available at the time, but said the numbers are still relatively large in size.
We are now moving towards streamlining those systems. So if it was a 10-step process, for getting a work permit process, whether to have an answer yes or no, because no is in fact an answer. So your permit can be denied. I think one of the issues that we have seen is there have been a lack of communication between the persons that have applied, between the business owners and the Labor Department, and those are one of the things that we're working on. There is a system where we still are pulling applications from the online system that was launched. So you understand that I can't give a number outright of how many files or how many applications are backlogged. There is still a very big backlog within the Labor Department that we are working aggressively to address.
Well, Turnbull, who is also the 2nd District Representative, revealed the department will be mirroring the system used on the sister island of Virgin Gorda to help remedy the backlog. Well, he said this will involve utilizing a new directive to better streamline the process.
The team has now a different directive in terms of how we streamline things, understanding the cries of the public, understanding the issues that are faced. Simply, if an application is not complete, the process doesn't start if it's not complete. So we are working to address those things, and we are learning a lot from the system that simply has and is happening in Virgin Gorda with less staff. Obviously left applications, but it's a streamlined process that we are now working with Ms. Gishard and the team to address.
Well, meanwhile, Minister Turnbull also said that plans are in place to facilitate the hiring of more staff in the department. He said this will include a combination of hiring new staff and shifting individuals from other departments to the Labor and Workforce Development.
The conversation with the Premier Minister of Finance is simply in this upcoming 2022-2023 budget is to be able to secure the funding to hire additional staff. But it is not just the staffing. It is some of the systems that we have. I keep saying that systems don't work, it is people that work. And some of the persons that we have, again, the Premier has said it, and I have taken it to be my mantra, which is simply some persons need to be shifted and moved from where they are. There are a lot of wrong pegs in square holes, and we have to address that. And I have received the support of the Premier and Minister of Finance, and we have to do the job that is done. It cannot be business as usual. You cannot be comfortable doing the things that you have been done. That's insanity. So we are moving aggressively to address it, including the hiring of additional staff, the resources that will be coming in to do training with the partnerships from SHRM, VI, and HireBVI and the other companies. We are moving assiduously to work and streamline the processes towards the execution of the job within the Labor Department.
Well, viewers, during a stakeholders meeting which was held in February 2022 to address the work permit issue in the territory, it was disclosed that a backlog of more than 2,000 applications existed in the territory. Well, just 1 month later, the Department of Labor and Workforce Development announced that there would be an establishment of a new task force to tackle the backlog issue. Well, up next, viewers, the Enis Adams Primary School to adopt hybrid system of learning to limit the disruption from building repairs, and government to legally acquire the Toad Hall estate property for free. Well, these are more stories when 284 News return.
You value traditions. Today. You value music. You value education. Family. I love you. Service.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Hello?
Wait, you had a long time to get? You say you were sick? What happened to our wedding rehearsal?
No, babe. I'm actually watching the news right now. Take a listen.
Topping our newscast today, UFOs seen around Tortola Pier Park.
And? District 3 residents outraged over no water supply. They simply cannot bathe. These and more stories when 284 News returns. Alright, babe, just get some rest, take 2 Advil, and I'll see you later. Bye!
Okay, honey. I see you later. I love you.
It's clear to see that Coconut Lounge is a place to be, the coolest cocktail lounge in the British Virgin Islands. A lounge like no other, with welcoming, professional service, and a breathtaking ambiance. Not forgetting a diverse selection of wines, beers, and signature cocktails. Cozy, comfortable, contemporary. Coconut Lounge at Tortola Pier Park. Visit us today.
Welcome back, viewers. Well, the students of the Enis Adams Primary School will be adopting a hybrid system of learning while infrastructure works are being carried out to the school's building, which along with the Francis Letson Primary is to house approximately 300 students of the Altius Catholic Primary School. But Education Minister Honorable Shari De Castro provided that update during a recent media statement as the Ministry of Education continues its preparations to welcome to the territory the young minds back into the schoolrooms on September 5th. But De Castro said that in order to facilitate the continued works without disruption, the delivery of daily face-to-face instruction to all students, the Enis Adams Primary School will adopt a hybrid system in the interim.
To ensure all students at the institution are afforded face-to-face instruction on a daily basis, the following schedule will be implemented. Students from kindergarten to grade 2, including students in the therapeutic kindergarten, will attend school for full-day instruction from 8:30 a.m. to 3:15 p.m., Monday to Friday. Students in grade 3 to 6 will attend on a hybrid schedule with one half of the population attending in the morning from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon and the other half attending in the afternoon from 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Consideration has been given to accommodate families who have students in multiple grades so that parents will not have to pick up at 2 separate times during the day.
Well, at the time of her announcement, the minister also revealed that through a partnership with the Ministry of Education, One BVI will absorb the entire cost of addressing the necessary infrastructural works at the Enis Adams and the Francis Letson Primary Schools to ensure that they are fit to accommodate the influx of students.
Today, we are pleased to announce that the Ministry of Education has partnered with One BVI, who has agreed to absorb the total cost of the infrastructural works needed to provide a safe and functional learning environment for the students at both Enis Adams and Francis Letson Primary Schools. This is exceptional news for us, and we thank the team at One BVI for making a difference. I am pleased to report that the projects will start next week, and in the case of Francis Letson Primary School, will be completed in phases, with the first phase to be completed in time for the reopening of school. This will allow for the students and teachers to occupy the space in time for the opening of the new school term. The works needed at Enis Adams Primary School include the completion of the second floor classrooms, which is slated to begin next week. However, because of the lead time necessary for materials needed to complete the works, this project is estimated to take a bit longer.
Well, moving on, viewers, where Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley has revealed that the government of the Virgin Islands is well on its way to acquiring the Toad Hall estate in Virgin Gorda without having to pay any money for it after the business responsible for managing the property was struck out.
We discovered when seeking to purchase Toad Hall that it was actually owned by a company that's been struck off. The company was struck off, and therefore we actually had to go through a legal process of having Toad Hall returned to the government of the Virgin Islands without actually having to pay any money.
Well, for those who are unaware, Toad Hall Estate is a luxury vacation villa built in the 1970s on a 5.5-acre property located within the Greater Baths National Park. Well, the property was reported to have been damaged during the 2017 hurricane season. The government of the Virgin Islands had been trying to purchase the property over the span of several years, with things appearing to be nearly concluded in October 2019 when Cabinet approved the purchase of the property for a reported $5.5 million. Well, Dr. Wheatley explained that this money will no longer need to be spent because the Virgin Islands, as the registering country of the property's defunct management company, is legally due to be returned to the company's assets.
When those companies are struck off, generally they return to the government for where the company was registered. And considering it's an asset in the BVI, a legal process is ongoing right now and should be concluded shortly for that to be returned to the Virgin Islands.
Well, with this new means of acquiring the property taking the place of intended monetary purchase, the Premier was asked whether or not there would be any effort to compensate the family of the property owner who they had negotiated the purchase with and whose death was believed to be a factor in the company being struck off. But the Premier offered this response.
It seems to be a legal matter, and I'd probably just caution myself from answering. But certainly, perhaps that's something that privately I can discuss with the Minister for Environment and with the Ministry and the Attorney General's chambers.
Well, plans for the property once legally under the government's ownership includes transitioning it into the territory's newest national park. Well, this process will include the construction of a headquarters of the National Parks Trust of the Virgin Islands, inclusive of a state-of-the-art visitor interpretation and environmental education center, a gift shop, and a rooftop restaurant. Well, the property will also be rented out as a luxury accommodation and event center. Well, this project is expected to create 20 new jobs in the territory. Well, up next, viewers, HireBVI Back to School Fun Day Expo Wet Fat Edition receives major success and community support. And Honorable Carvin Malone speaks on the One BVI Agenda and moving the territory forward. But we get to those stories after a word from our sponsors.
There's a reason you get up on a morning. A reason you pick yourself up, start the day. Maybe it's sheer grit. Maybe it's your ethics. Maybe it's because you know people like you are waiting for people just like you. We all have our reasons, and for Republic Bank, that reason is you. Every little thing, every big thing. It's all about making a difference in your life. Because after 182 years, if it's one thing we're sure about, is that the difference is you. We're here to help.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
The beautiful Virgin Islands, or nature's little secret as some prefer, where the weather stays warm and the drinks stay cold, where men in wigs get their lawyer bills paid by governments and governments lose planes, where walls are built and prisoners escape. You vacation where we suffer. BVI love.
Well, welcome back, viewers, and thank you so much for sticking with us. Well, hundreds came out on Saturday, August 27th for the HireBVI's annual Back to School Fun Day and Exposition, which was held at the Noel Lloyd Positive Action Movement Park. But this year's event saw students enjoying a Wet Fat edition, which was centered around water sport activities under the theme, "The Future is Now," and exposed participants to after-school and extracurricular activities, registration drives, and pop-up shops for children. Well, while at the Fun Day and Exposition, parents got an opportunity to learn while the children played. Well, hundreds of packages with school supplies to registered children that is, were distributed. Well, one of the highlights of the day was residents getting to dunk various community leaders, including Honorable Dr. Natalia Wheatley, obviously the Premier, Honorable Marlon A. Penn, Honorable Melvin Mitch Turnbull, Mrs. Shana Smith Archer, and Cindy Roseanne and DJ Grimm. Well, HireBVI's Managing Director, Ms. Rakima Turnbull, in an invited comment, had this to share.
HireBVI's Back to School Wet Fit saw hundreds of parents and children. We at HireBVI were grateful to see all of the parents and children in attendance. The smiling faces for me was the best part of the event. We had exhibitors on site from a dance school to event planner and even a pediatrician. There was also an ice cream truck and food vendor present. We also had a display by our corporate collaborator, CCT. It was certainly a wet fit for the children and even the adults. Then there was the moment when Tola the Turtle from National Bank of the Virgin Islands came through. She assisted us with giving out hundreds of school bags with supplies. There were the smiling faces again. I am grateful to God first of all, and all the corporate collaborators, supporters, volunteers, the politicians, especially those that came out to be dunked, and my awesome team at HireBVI. This is not the end. This is actually our 4th year doing this. Continue to follow HireBVI. We are a BVI company that truly, truly cares.
Well, viewers, moving on to our final story, where opposition legislator Honorable Carvin Malone has been sharing his One BVI Agenda. As he says, it is time for the territory to move to the next level. Well, in a recent interview with our 284 Media's Ron Grant, Malone not only addressed and shared his take on the importance of the One BVI Agenda, but also weighed in on issues affecting the territory at this time.
It is based on the premise that we as Virgin Islanders, we as belongers, we as residents and as visitors to the Virgin Islands must create a framework for that we want in the British Virgin Islands, from Anegada to Josephine Dyke and everyone in between, Salt Island, Guana Island, all of the territories, all of the islands that make up the Virgin Islands. We must be able to articulate, write, and put in one document what we want for a Virgin Islands. We can no longer just decide to fight against everything that everyone wants for themselves. We have to decide what we want so that we can then move the Virgin Islands forward in such a light. And there's no greater time to do that than now. Now that we have the Constitution review, that document itself would have another 20 to 30 years before it comes for review again, 2040, 2050. So if there's any time to determine what we want going forward, the time is now.
Well, speaking on the territory's ability to articulate its needs and move forward in strengthening its economic pillars, Malone said more could be done.
We have a lot to be desired in terms of making sure that we not only articulate, but we have it concise. We have Dr. June Summer was engaged by UNDP to conduct a sustainable development plan for the Virgin Islands, and extensive work has been done as it relates to this. I think that it is important that we now take that document and we look and we enhance it so that it becomes a particular document for moving forward. We have talked about our elusive, I call it, third, fourth, in terms of, we have tourism, we have financial services. We must be able to look at our economic pillars and see where that is and work towards it so that we can then move with haste towards that third and fourth economic pillars that we are talking about.
Well, when asked what makes the One BVI Agenda any different from documents presented before, Malone shared this.
Well, what will make it inclusive, because it is not intended to be a quote-unquote a done deal type of a particular agenda. It must be broad-based. It must involve everyone, basically, or representatives from each of the sectors, from Anegada to Josephine Dyke, as I mentioned before, but also from the fishing and farming, from the financial services sector, from the tourism sector, from the bareboat sector, from the construction sector, from all of these particular areas, because it is the sum of the parts is what is going to be critical for us in order to get the master plan and get it all moving. And we're always left to be corrected if we feel that we've done a great job in terms of creating the agenda from which we are following. Well, fine. Well, there'll be very little, and we'll only have to value add to that. We're going to value add to everything that is there, bring it all in one document so that we can be rest assured that when the government or governments here or in the future start a project, it would not be one that will, quote unquote, be scrapped by the time the next government come in, because we're looking in terms of resources. We look at it in terms of human and financial resources. So if it's based on a, quote unquote, people's agenda, then once that agenda starts, then it will be difficult for any group to come in and say, well, look, we don't want a, quote unquote, market square in the middle of town, quote unquote. We don't want the traffic turnaround. We don't want palm trees in the middle of town. We don't want, whatever it is. We must have it so that it could be continued, because it was approved by the people and it was approved for the people.
Malone also addressed the importance of bridging the gap between generations through this agenda.
I'm taking the upfront, call it licks if you want to, in terms of being dare enough to say that we have to create this agenda, we have to create the framework, and we must get those persons who can best command the attention of all the other groups. I've called a number of people who can best talk to, relate with, be associated with the 40 and under particular sector of our economy. I can't believe that at my particular age and this stage of life that a 25-year-old will relate properly to me, for instance. But there are a number of persons. You have people working here, you yourself, who can best relate to the persons that we would have to talk to and be a part of, because 20 years from now, they will be 20 years older. 30 years from now, they'll be 30 years older. And say, well, why in 2022, 2023, no one afforded me the opportunity or told me in clear terms what we would have been facing 20 years later, 2040, 30 years later, 2050. So this is the path that we have to go in, and there's no better time to start this, to continue this, than now.
Well, when asked whether he will be contesting the next general elections, here is what Malone had to say.
Well, that will be depending on the people of the Virgin Islands, because at the end of the day, I started late. I told people this. So I can't expect to be a 4-year or five-term politician. I didn't even want to run for the particular Fourth House of Assembly. But the fact is that circumstances had it that I made a decision to do this, in whatever forum.
Well, viewers, to catch the full interview with Honorable Carvin Malone, visit all 284 media platforms. But that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com. Like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a safe and enjoyable evening. Bye-bye.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Brilliant Hands and Minds tutoring services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
You value traditions. You value music. You value education. Family. I love you. Service.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.